All right, moment of truth here. How often does sex feel less like connection and more like something you're trying to get right or get through? Do you race to the finish? Do you find yourself performing instead of feeling? Maybe going through the motions instead of actually being there? Now imagine the opposite, slowing all the way down, feeling everything, everything, instead of racing past, turning sex into something you actually get to savor and unfurl into. That's what I'm teaching live on August 19th in a brand new masterclass called Slow Tantric Sex. 90 minutes, live over Zoom, real practices for building anticipation and staying present in arousal instead of rushing through it. It's only $33 to join live, and the cheat sheet and lifetime replay for just $11 more, so you never lose access to what you learn. Grab your tickets at sexreimagined.com/events.
Isn't it the worst when you go into discord with your partner, you have a total rupture and you just have no idea how to get yourself back to harmony and balance and maybe even rapture? So in today's episode, we're talking about how to get from rupture to rapture. I'm Dr. Willow Brown, and I'm here with the one and only Leah Piper. We are Sex Reimagined. And if you're a fan of the podcast and you have not yet shared this with a friend, then we would so love for you to do that. And of course, always hit the like button and subscribe button anywhere applicable, because it really helps our algorithm give you more and more incredible information on how to make your intimate life amazing.
So tune in, turn on, and fall in love with more Rapture, baby.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
We've all been
Man,
there.
oh man.
It's no fun.
Yeah, no one
It
likes the
feels
detonation.
Feels like hitting a wall sometimes. You're like cruising along, everything's good, and then all of a sudden you have this total disagreement, this total discord, and you're like, what the fuck? Your perspective and my perspective on this couldn't be more different, and I have no idea how to even see your point of view. It can just really go on for days. It depends too on like your pattern around holding on to discord and rupture and your partner's pattern. My last long-term partner, he would hold on to shit for 3, 4, 5 days sometimes, and I fucking drove me crazy because I got Aries rising and I was like, let's move on.
Right. Some people, they're just wired for makeup sex and like angry sex. Like they can go from fight to fucking. They enjoy hateful fucking. I'm not quite wired that way. I do think that's interesting. I think my pussy shuts down if there's a rupture and it hasn't been resolved. And I think for a lot of men, they might be able to have sex, but their heart stays closed. So what happens is the circuitry, I think, between bodies can stop that rapture from happening. And so there has to be, if there's been a rupture, you have to have a repair in order for rapture, for most people, to come back to that unified place. Though I would love to find out more about these people who can do it without the repair. I'm really curious to see what that's like for them.
Well, that's, yeah. I mean, I imagine for people who like to angry fuck or I'm so pissed off at you, but fuck me anyway, that kind of energy.
The transgression in that might be hot.
Yeah, it might be hot. There might be, it's a kinky, there's a little kinky edge to it. Plus, also, it might touch a part of them that they hate themselves. They're like, oh, it's really getting like I'm being seen and acknowledged in this place inside of me that I really don't like inside of me as well. So, there's so many layers of possibility.
You can fuck that open. Yeah,
what that could be about for sure.
Yeah, so that's one way to maybe play with it.
You can play with it.
Probably hard for most people to engage it that way, but I do think that is it. I do think that could be a legitimate avenue of discovery, of being able to play with that transgressive energy, to work it out somatically through sex. I mean, that could be really valid for some people, but I imagine that the majority of the people who are listening to this show there's more about like what we want to really play with is the repair part of a rupture and what's required there in order to find rapture with each other again. What do you have to say about that?
One of the things that is really useful is coming back together, like taking like if you need some time apart, go to your own separate corners for a minute, take a breather. Maybe that minute of separate corners is, half an hour, could be an hour, could be a whole day, depending on what the rupture is about. But then coming back towards each other and getting your bodies actually close to each other, your nervous systems close to each other as soon as you can. I think that really can cut down on the meaning making of the rupture. I think we can go into so much story. The longer that we stay apart from each other physically, we go into so much story. I mean, I see a lot of long distance relationships when things go into discord or rupture. There's the logistics are that they can't then get their bodies back together again, and stories just start to story out themselves, and pretty soon you're lost in something that never even existed. So
yeah, I think for self-regulation, I think that's some good advice, is taking some time to just self-regulate, get your heartbeat down so it's not beating so fast. There's a technique called havening, and I encourage you to search for it on YouTube. And it's a way of petting. You use, if you're watching this, you can see what I'm doing. I've crossed my hands against my chest. My hands are now at my shoulders, and then I caress downward down the arms. And then I uncross my arms, then I cross them back again, placing them on my shoulders, and I'm petting down my arms. You can also do it like you're caressing the face. Your right hand would caress from your forehead down, your chin and jaw. Then your left hand would come to the other side of the forehead, caress down. It's called havening, and haven is a powerful word. So it's a great way to self-regulate, where you're dealing with the delta waves of the brain and you're bringing yourself into a parasympathetic holding pattern in your system, so everything can start to regulate and cool down. And I think from there, your ability to co-regulate with a partner becomes more successful. And one of the techniques that we use in Tantra is called the Tantra Cuddle. And it's a way where you're spooning. You go into the classic spooning position. You've got your big spoon and your little spoon. But what you're focusing on is getting your breaths to regulate together. So you're both breathing in and breathing out at the same time. Once you're a little bit more advanced student and you've studied the chakras a little bit, the big spoon is going to hold 2 chakras of the little spoon, so that they're both now focusing on the same chakra at the same time. And then you're breathing into that chakra. And then the next step to advance the practice is to then work with the way that you are circulating energy between you and your partner using the breath, and how you include the earth to bring more groundedness into your experience. And because your chakras have a relationship with each other, it goes beyond your own relationship with each other. It's like another dimension, because it's more on an energy plane. It's a chakra to chakra. Sometimes your chakras can bond and unite and harmonize faster than what you can accomplish through language and through words and through communication. It's a nonverbal kind of communication. And that's a really, really powerful way to sync up your nervous systems too.
yeah, I think that's really wise to, when you first come back together, do the chakra spooning meditation first, just to get your bodies realigned, your nervous systems in a place of love and connection and harmony. And then you can go into let's talk about this. Okay, let's see if we can find our way to harmony about whatever it was. We often do something called the bubble practice, where we will set up a container for the conversation. And, we'll both go through, like, what do we want to take out of the bubble? What do we want to take out of this container where we're going to have a conversation to make our way back to love? And we'll take out, regret. We'll take out pain. We'll take out fear. We'll take out martyrdom. We'll take out, what else will we take out?
Criticism, judgment, blame, shame, And it's amazing how much it cleanses the environment.
It's truly
And it
amazing.
resets the body. So now your attention is not on those things, because the next part of the practice is now you bring in what you want in the bubble, which is safety, integrity, honesty, understanding, compassion, being able to see what wasn't able to be seen before, insight, love. And now you've taken things out that are not helpful. Now you're bringing in things that are helpful to the conversation, and you'll feel a dramatic shift between the two of you before you've even started to get to the nuts
Talk
and
about
bolts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From there, it's really important to own your own side of the street, as they say in couples therapy all the time. It's like, this is what I experienced. This is what I heard. When I heard this, I experienced that. Maybe the other person did not mean for you to experience that. Usually they didn't. They did not mean for you to hear it that way. It's just a lot of times we're carrying what the ancients called samskaras, these imprints from the past, where like all of a sudden we hear somebody say words in a certain way to us. It reminds us of when we were 4 years old and our grandfather like weirdly shamed our body in some way, and we go into this shame spiral. And then all of a sudden we're like, you're my grandfather, and what are you doing? And now I have this whole story about how you're, looking at me or viewing me or judging me in a way that just makes me feel small. And that's how a lot of ruptures happen. So if we can be aware of our samskaras and really take responsibility for them in these ruptures, that can go a really long way as well. And it can also open up a lot more love and understanding between the two of you if you're able to actually verbalize, oh God, when you said it this way, it reminded me of when I was 4 years old. And my grandfather, who was a sexual perpetrator, whatever the story is that you lived through, said something about my chest or something, whatever it was. And when you did that, it like turned this whole thing in on myself, and it just turned into what it turned into. So then the other person knows that part of your story. They know why you went into the reaction you went into, and they can now forevermore hold that in their consciousness and awareness, which will deepen your relationship over time.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question to ask your partner. So you felt like this when I said that. Are there any other times that has felt familiar to you in the past? What else does that remind you of?
Yeah.
Can help unearth maybe a little more history, a little more wounding that's connected to that feeling. What's powerful about that is then you both start to realize that it's a lot less personal than you thought it was.
Yeah.
And now you're able to hold something much more spacious. And it kind of gets you to feel more compassion for your partner, because now you understand them at a deeper level. Like, wow, I had no idea that this impacts you like this. And there's a whole history as to why. That really makes sense, babe. Will and I had an experience of that the other week when we were talking about, a dynamic in our collaboration, and she was like offering me an opportunity to go, well, maybe this is the role that you should take. And I was like, oh no, that's a dangerous role. And this is why. And she was like, oh my gosh, now I feel like I can protect you a little bit more, like within the structure of it. And it was really moving for both of us to unearth that. And I think it was a surprise for both of us to unearth it. And so it's those kinds of questions when you're bringing curiosity to a high stakes conversation. It is really the biggest key to stepping back from judgmental or defensive comments, is to really find that feeling of curiosity. It's like, well, gosh, that's really interesting that you saw it that way. Or gosh, that's really interesting that when I hear that, there's a thought, an attack thought that comes up in my own mind that either attacks you or attacks me. And so then you can start to go, okay, what are the attack thoughts that are causing this rupture? It's like, is it a detonation? Is it a rupture? It doesn't matter. It's basically the same thing, and it's causing separation. And when we are separate, it's a terrible feeling. Separateness is a terrible feeling. We want to get from separate. and we want to get to a feeling of belonging. So that's another element that you want to think about, is how can I create more belonging for myself and for my partner, which is going to help us unify so that we can find some rapture together.
Let's take a quick break.
Hey everyone, Willow here. So there's something really cool that I bet you never heard of before. The penis and the vaginal canal each mirror a full set of your body's organs: the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidneys, the pineal gland. And the ancient Taoist physicians called sex healing love, and they meant it literally, not as a metaphor. They meant you could have sex as medicine. They even prescribed specific sexual positions to patients, the same way a doctor today might prescribe a stretch or a supplement, because certain positions stimulate certain points along the body more directly than others. So Leah and I are going to be teaching all of this live on September 2nd in a brand new masterclass called Beyond Pleasure, the Sexual Reflexology Map to Radical Healing. And we're covering the full anatomy of the healing positions behind it that you can start using that same night. So it's 90 minutes. We're live over Zoom, and it's $33 to join. And the cheat sheet and lifetime replay access are an additional $11. Spots are limited, so don't wait on this one. Get your tickets at sexreimagined.com/events. That's sexreimagined.com/events. And come learn what your body's been holding all along. Absolutely. Once you've kind of moved through and you're like, oh, I'm in deeper understanding of you and I just want to be close to you and let me just hold you. And you've kind of moved through the rupture stage of this whole journey. Then it's really nice to not just move right into, okay, let's get frisky, let's fuck, but actually move into more of a tantric space. Like let's have a sexual tantric ritual practice tonight where we really set up the mood. We put on the music and we light the candles and we really take our time and just be together without any distractions. And we actually look into each other's eyes and we actually breathe together. And there's absolutely no agenda for intercourse to happen at all, taking all pressure off of the whole ritual and off of the whole situation so that you can really just drop into why you're with that person in the first place.
Yeah, it's about restoring closeness. It's not about having sex or even being sexual. It's about having actually really spending a lot of time with non-sexual touch. And when you can engage with non-sexual intimacy through non-sexual touch, you're creating safety for each other's bodies. And it helps cultivate trust that we can go through something hard and we are strong enough to come back together, and it will actually make us stronger. There's a very particular, powerful type of intimacy that goes, we can be in conflict, and our conflict is purposeful, and it makes us stronger as a couple. So I'm not afraid of our ruptures. I know that our ruptures have purpose that lead us to actually something that's deeper and more meaningful. And in order to capitalize on that, you need a period of non-sexual touch that's very purposeful and intentional, where you're regulating your breathing and you're letting yourself be seen with that eye contact, like Willow said, and you're doing very purposeful, slow, long types of caressing. And I highly recommend that you both have a chance to be the giver and the receiver. So you can even put a timer on. It's like, for the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to bring loving touch to the back of your body. And I'm not trying to get you off or get you horny. I'm just bringing you into your body, and I'm reestablishing trust and safety. And then you switch off, and then your partner does it to you. And if it's feeling really good and your bodies are opening and you're feeling safe, flip over and do it again to the front of your partner's body. Another 10 minutes. And you don't have to avoid the sexy bits, but you don't go diddling. There's no twisting nipples and flicking clits and rubbing tips of dicks. It's just, you're not afraid to caress by those parts. but you're not trying to make something happen. And then see what it feels like after that full, where you've both received now for 20 minutes, you've both given now for 20 minutes. Where are things at? How are things settled? Take the emotional temperature in the space. If it starts to turn sensual, great. Move to the next step of maybe having some more rapture between the two of you.
Yeah. And one thing, if you've had if you're wherever you're at on your sexual journey, everyone's in a different place. You might need to keep your clothes on for this intimacy to really, and this is a temperature check for yourself. Like, you have to listen to your own body and your own nervous system and not judge yourself. Like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to go into an intimacy space with you now and have a deeper, receiving session and giving session with you, but I'm keeping my clothes on. Because if that's where you're at and that's what makes you feel safer in the moment, you ought to listen to that, because you will get closer to rapture more efficiently and more effectively when you don't override your own system.
Yeah.
So always listen to that. And the journey to rapture, it doesn't all happen in one day. Sometimes it takes several of these reconnecting, sensuality, sleeping together, maybe doing the spooning several times before it's like, okay, now my JJ is open and ready to dive into more rapture, more sexual, more arousal level.
I think that is a really good thing that you mentioned, because sometimes ruptures are so big in a relationship that they last years.
Yeah,
And
they
when
can
you're
be
trying to
ongoing.
repair from a rupture that has just been so devastating, and it's been 10 years since you've have had any sensuality, and you're now just kind of coming to it for the first time, you're going to need slow, gentle, non-sexual intimacy to build and restore all that trust that had gotten that was divided. And then your ramp is going to be a slower ramp, but it's the way to come back. So let's go over sort of the steps. Okay, you've had the rupture. Go have some space between each other and do some self-regulation. Then when you're ready, come back and do some co-regulation. Some holding, some breathing, maybe a little eye contact. Then create a container for you to have a conversation. And take your questions to a deeper level. What's underneath the rupture? What is it about what you're feeling or the impact of this experience? What else does that remind you of from the past? How can we get to know each other even deeper by asking deeper inquiry questions, staying very curious? If needed, you do another exercise. Maybe it's the chakra spooning, and you start to get the energy flowing between the two of you. You might need to have another conversation, or maybe it's time to step into some non-sexual touch, where you're then just caressing, taking turns being the receiver and the giver, taking the temperature of where you at in your intimacy, and then seeing if the next stage is to get sexual. Anything I'm missing there?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all. And yeah, I like what you said too about, you might want to go in a couple of rounds. You might need several rounds of the bubble. You might need several rounds of the self-havening. You might need several rounds. So that's where you get to empower yourself by taking care of your needs and really keeping your finger on the pulse of where you're at in the process, and make that your responsibility, not your partner's responsibility. I think we go awry and get back into the repeat patterns of the repeat ruptures that happen in long-term relationships when we expect that they should know where we're at in our process. We've been together for 25 years. You should know exactly where I'm at in my process. But that's disempowering. We have the opportunity here to take our power back and to speak up. Here's where I'm at in my process. I want to share it with you so that you understand where I'm at. Where are you at in your process? I want to understand and know where you're at, because everyone's at a different place in their process at different points in their life journey. We go through different seasons. Our hormones change. We have more capacity. We don't care about shit that we used to care about, but we care about other shit now, So we really want to keep each other well informed, even if we've been together and really, really know each other inside and out.
Now, one thing that Matt and I are doing this weekend, which I think we'll bring Matt onto the show, so we'll be able to discuss our adventure, but Willow's already done it, is the Light and Dark Institute. And one of the things I'm really curious in this sort of inquiry of rupture to rapture is how can we go into these darchetypes or this archetype that we are oftentimes suppressing. I think one of them I heard is the needy wretch, where you can really play all out and like really express all the character of this needy wretch, which we probably all have.
We
Right.
all
And so I can't
have.
wait to learn about them, where
Yeah.
then you can kind of go into like a hyper drama, but that makes you laugh when you look at the ridiculousness of whatever you're acting out, that is kind of a part of the drama of whatever this rupture is. And so I think there's another way to tackle some of this. And so maybe we'll do a part 2 to this episode to talk about some really creative ways to maybe kink out on your ruptures. So that there's a more creative somatic expression of how you get to rapture due to a rupture that's a little bit more somatic and playful, where you can kind of bring in the high drama of your ego so that you can, by the end of it, not take yourself so damn seriously.
Yeah, that is one of the most beautiful things about what the archetypes bring to an intimate relationship, and especially one that carries a lot of consciousness, like you and Matt have. So I'm so excited for you guys, because I think it's just going to be really fun for you both to get in. You get into characters. I mean, Leah always wanted to be an actress, right? So here she has created this life stage for herself. But she plays out characters really well. And it will be good for Matt to play into his own inner characters, because we all have all these different parts inside of us. We all
Yeah.
have all these different
They're all
characters
hiding. We
inside
don't
of
want
us.
anyone to see these shadowy gremlins that we carry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
really
it's
big
so
part.
fun to let them out and to really let them be felt, because when you let them be felt, it takes off the charge of them and that seriousness that we go into. Like, this is so painful for me. This is so intense for me. This is so serious for me. It's like, well, okay, there's a part of you that keeps playing that pattern out in relationships and in your life. So there must be some part of you that loves that experience. Well, where's that part of you, and how do you want to play with it? So that'll be a very, very fascinating.
It'll be very
episode when we
fascinating.
get
Yeah, I
there.
think that's hard for people to accept, that they could possibly love a part of their pain body
Yeah.
that keeps them attached to the story
Yeah.
and their
It seems
victimness,
very
right?
unspiritual.
Yeah, right. So it's like not bypassing that, but like actually turning towards it.
Yeah. Going into
I think
it.
there's a really interesting paradoxical healing that is made possible when
it's
you can
massive.
turn towards the things that you don't like about yourself and that you don't want anyone to see.
Yeah, it's massive. I have some friends who are well versed in this work, and because we know the work and we know the language, we're safe for each other to play it out. And for some of these men to be able to play out the needy wretch and just to be like, Willow, love me, I want you, to really like have that inner little one who's like, just mom, pay attention to me. I need you. I want you. Like, woman, pay attention to me. Like, I'm so much in need of this femininity from outside of me. It's so healing for them to
Well,
be
how did that
able to-
impact you to hear that and to hold that for someone?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been, for me, it's like, okay, that touches a place inside of me that's interested in being wanted, for sure. There's like my little ego stroke likes that. And then there's also the place inside of me that's like, well, I got to pull my energy back then, because I don't want to hurt you. And then
Right.
there's also the place in me that's like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for that needy little boy inside of you. And I witness, and I'm not going anywhere.
Is there another
So-
part that's afraid of the responsibility that's coming at you, that feels like, oh God, do I have to pick this up? I don't want to.
No, because of the responsibility that they are holding for themselves.
Nice.
So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I bet. I imagine that that's what makes it all possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so
Yeah.
excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you asked the teachers to be on the podcast?
No, I was just going to say when we got
Yeah,
off,
I
off
will. I
air.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It'd be great to have Leslie on. He's the main guy now.
Okay, great. All right, sweetie. Well, hey, everyone. We love you long time. Until next time, keep loving each other.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.
Hey, we want you to know about one of our favorite classes inside of the Sex Reimagined library.
It's called the Erotic Polarity Masterclass, How Opposite Energies Create Delicious Desire.
Whether you're in a relationship that's lost its spark or dating and craving more charge, this is the class that explains exactly why polarity works and how to consciously bring it online.
We go deep on the 4 modes of erotic exchange: giving, receiving, taking, and allowing, and why most couples rarely play with all of them. We also demystify dominant and submissive dynamics with zero shame and zero mystery.
This is an on-demand masterclass that you can watch anytime, anywhere, alone or with a partner.
Go to sexreimagined.com/courses to purchase it today.